Ladies and gentlemen, India's OTT evolution, the rise and rise of South. This is going to be a conversation moderated by Mr. Siddhartha Laik, founder and editor-in-chief, IWMBuzzmedia.com. Can I please have a big round of applause? And to join him on stage, we have Krishnan Kutty, head of Cluster Entertainment South, JioStar. A big round of applause for Krishnan, sir, as well, please.
Thank you, Subhojit, for the warm introduction. And thank you, sir. I think you have come all the way from Chennai. And I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank Richa also for all the coordination that we have done. Thank you, everyone. I know it's been raining since the last couple of days. It was quite challenging to figure out people can turn up. Thank you, all the speakers, partners, and looking forward to an engaging session. The topic is India's OTT evolution, the rise and rise of South. Sir, to begin with, the first question that I want to ask you, when sitting in Bombay or sitting in, say, northern part of India, when we say South, we kind of think South as one market. But it's a different, ball game altogether. Can you please talk about the potential and the different markets in South, to begin with, sir?
So thank you, Siddharth, for inviting. I think, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and to your audience. I think the South, every single market is driven by its own dynamics. And I think that's really what makes, our job interesting, because there is this world of content which translates across markets. And, how do you grab those opportunities? How do you really take those big bets of products and content which will work across markets? At the same time, every market has got its own unique dynamics, unique flavors. I think, to put it in the most simplistic terms, I think the Malayalam market is a market which is driven by a great output of filmmakers and films and scripted shows. I think the writing and technical talent in Kerala is, in my view, second to none across the country. I think it's just outstanding. The grade and quality of scripts which we get from Kerala is absolutely outstanding. I think a market like Telugu operates on scale, operates on visual scale, operates on grandeur in terms of large mass commercial products. I think Tamil operates somewhere in between, and I think both Tamil and Telugu also believe a lot in non-scripted content. So there is a dynamic around. There are these values which are universal, but there's also a dynamic which is unique to each individual market.
So just to put things into perspective, so we have Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada as different markets. South is not one market together. So you have a huge body of experience over the years. Tell us at JioStars specifically, how do you balance between quantity and quality programming? Like, you need to have new content as well. It's a constant churn, but you need to ensure that the quality is also being doled out. So what's your take on it, sir?
I think I'm going to say something which I think quality has become a producer's wording for additional cost. Yeah. Okay, so it's not something. I don't think it is. I think it's a false choice. I think the point is, listen, how do you sit and make great stories which consistently connect with consumers, at an economics which makes sense for you? I think that really is the world which you have to do. I think as OTT players, the one thing which I think we need to do better is, really have a consistency of offering for our consumers. The television business, the one thing which everybody knows is every day if I land up at 9 p.m. I can watch this show.
More like an appointment viewing.
Yeah, but I think I think while we have moved to time shifted viewing on digital, I launch a great web series. Is my next web series going to come in 2 weeks' time, 2 months' time, 3 months' time, 6 months later? And I think, if I don't have a consistency of offering for my consumers, why should my consumers subscribe? Why should they pay me money? So I think we have to have enough product in our portfolio so that you're providing a consistent experience. I know if I'm coming to my platform, I'm going to get new content to watch. So I think that is something which we are really focused on moving towards. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, when you talk about advertisers' interest, there's always South as a market, North as a market, East as a market. So when you have new projects coming up, new conversations coming up, how do you see overall pan-India, the advertisers' interest towards projects that are being held by you, sir, or your network?
I think, listen, what we have going for us is the 4 southern markets are incredibly prosperous markets. They are among the top 7 or 8 most prosperous markets across the country. I think 2 of the top 3 or 4 most prosperous states are in the south. So I think, we don't have a challenge in convincing advertisers in most markets about the value of those markets. Because advertisers know where their value is coming from, where their business is coming from, where your consumers are. So I think, maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was maybe a world of differential between the way people looked at Hindi versus regional markets. I think that is completely gone now. People are looking for value and advertisers are looking for value, and and we are having very engaged conversations with them.
The interest, even for northern markets, you are saying like they're ready to invest in the projects that you are doing. Any to continue this question, any branded content innovations that you want to precisely, maybe an anecdote to share?
No, I think the one thing which we really have going for us in the south is this world of, I think we have been always extremely friendly on our shows, on our content with brands. So I think, recently, for example, we have this very successful show on Hotstar called Heartbeat. And it's what we call a LRS, it's a long running series. It's a series which runs over 4 or 5 months. And, seeing the popularity of the show, Pons wanted to come on the product. So we of course did a whole series of integrations around the brand. But beyond that, we allow Pons to do these exclusive podcasts with talent. We allowed them to kind of create associations on the show, which are slightly money can't buy experiences. Across the south, we are very focused on providing advertiser value. So I think we work especially really closely with local advertisers. I can give you a whole series of examples of shows. We've used our non-scripted shows to launch new products. IWMBuzz, of course, provides tremendous value. So I think there is a whole series of things which we do to kind of provide great advertiser value.
Great example. So when you mentioned IWMBuzz, like IWMBuzz is a huge IP for the entire network, and down south also it's grown exponentially. How do you kind of choose the anchors for each market? Because here there's Salman, down south you have also big stars. Anchor plays a major role when it comes to IWMBuzz as a show. So there's a cost attached to it, of course. How do you choose, sir? Like, say, for Tamil, for Malayalam, for Kannada, that this is the actor that we want to put as a face?
I think at some level, the anchor is the soul of the show.
True.
I think they really provide the window for audiences, and they provide a significant amount of credibility around the show. We've been very fortunate that we've had anchors who really work with us for many, many years. So they really understand the shows well. So I think very often there is a nuance which they have to kind of talk through, and they are able to kind of do that. So we need people who have credibility in the market. We obviously want people who can bring in a large amount of audiences.
Also advertiser interest.
That's right, absolutely. But I think also very, very importantly, people who have integrity and credibility. I think that is a very, very big filter as we look at anchors and selecting of anchors.
Yeah, and then bigger the face, more the active tantrums, but you deal with it because it's how it goes. So, sir, for South markets, precisely which genre works? Like it's comedy, or like you said, there's fiction, non-fiction, or what is right now you feel you need to bet on?
Look, I think we are just focused on betting on great stories here. I don't think there is a constraint. I don't think there is a constraint in terms of, So I think there's no constraint in terms of genres which people are willing to accept, whether across the space. Now, but it comes down to two things. One, does the market have the capability to deliver great shows in that genre? I think that is a challenge. And second is, can you create a great product from a thing? I think across spaces, right? Whether it is talent shows or reality shows or game shows. So the width of products which South tries is very, very wide. It's probably significantly wider than what rest of the country tries. And that's the same for our scripted shows. For example, the very common feeling was that humor is very difficult to pull off on digital. But in Telugu, we've launched a show called Save the Tigers. It's a
Save the Tigers.
That's right. So it is a show which we've done 2 seasons. We are going to launch a 3rd season sometime later this year. The entire concept is about these 3 men, who are all very fed up with their wives, and they happen to meet at the bar. And, the various misadventures they get into. And of course, the underlying message is that it's actually all the men's fault, and it's actually the women. But that show has become such a rage. So the reality is, look, can we create fresh spaces around comedy? Can we create spaces around drama? I think that really is what you are sitting and attempting to solve for. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. We've spoken about advertising, we've spoken about the shows, genres. But sir, overall, the attention span, if I may say, it's kind of reducing with the new age audiences. People are on reels. We are talking about the evolution of micro dramas. In that capacity, as a leader, how do you see the space evolving, sir?
I think we are betting on the fact: can we make a show which is can a consumer say the show is relevant for me? And that really is a bet. I think the fundamental evolution when you move from television to a digital space is, I think the biggest piece is, of course, holding consumers' attention. I'm not saying it isn't a challenge, but I think the television mindset is I'm programming for everyone. As we kind of move into a digital mindset, the consumer saying what is in it for me as an individual. And I think that is a real mindset shift we have to bring out. Can you sit and program for the individual? Can you sit and kind of create a set of products and construct which is meaningful for the person and enough of a cohort of individuals? And I think especially with younger audiences, can you speak their language? Can you create shows which talk about their world and their sensibilities? And that's really is a big piece we have to solve for.
Sir, with Jio and Hotstar merging, of course you're the behemoth, the huge player in the market, but there's always competition. There's Prime, there's Netflix, there's Live. Telling stories is always critical for all networks. I'm not talking about the business side of it when it talks about storytelling, because the core is storytelling. How do you see yourself evolving? Because end of the day, you take the decision of commissioning what will be actually streamed or not to be streamed. Do you also watch some of the similar competitive shows to stay ahead of the competition? How do you keep track of what's happening in the ecosystem?
No, of course I watch products. I think I'm a consumer, and I think there is great products being made by every platform. So I think we have to be, every platform has to be clear about the path they are following. And the path which we are really following is, we want to be the greatest space for original scripted storytelling. And I think, there are other platforms who chose, and of course, sports is a very, very large part of our platform. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
those are two big pieces, right? Sports and original scripted storytelling. We of course have a great bank on our digital platforms of our TV shows, but beyond that, can I consistently provide really great digital stories which are relevant for a large enough amount of audiences? I think other people have chosen different paths. I think there are people who are investing disproportionately on movies, etc. There are different paths which people we are following. So scripted shows, non-scripted shows, can I provide a really significantly large, consistent offering which consumers love? And that's really, and I think the market is large enough for all of us. So while we are aware of competition, I don't think it is, at this stage, it's a market development phase still. Can we grow the market to sufficient scale? And I think we are still in early days to that extent.
Sports is important. You say there's enough opportunity for all the players. I know it's showing time's up, but two more questions, then we can wrap this up. Sir, as a business leader, I just want to ask, when you go to the office, see the drawing boards, any immediate and eventual challenges you feel that you need to iron out to meet your business goals?
I don't think, I think this is too short a time to talk about all the challenges which we face. But I think around digital, at an overall level, I think we all as an ecosystem need to really work hard towards fixing a great business model. I think, over the last 4 or 5 years, there was an incredibly large investment phase. But, investments will only continue if you consistently see returns. And how do we build a consistent business model? I think, for example, if I put out a television show and if it's reasonably successful, I know I'm going to be making X amount of money. I don't think we have cracked that model as much on digital. And I think we have to crack that for the long-term health of our platforms, long-term sustenance of our platforms. I think we are doing a lot of work on that space and that regards. But broadly, how do you build a scaled up, large digital business which is sustainable? I think that really is a big focus.
Yeah. So return on investment on the digital spends. Sir, what about AI in content creation? Like a lot of talks are about shows being made entirely on AI. So what's your thought in that? Do you think, creatively that's the next way of evolution? Anything at your office you're discussing about it?
I don't think there is any organization in the country who's not discussing AI. And I think AI can play roles in every element of the production ecosystem, right? It can provide, it can be a tool for during your writing phase. It can be a tool during your planning phase, during production or in post-production. I think every element is potentially transformed. I think, there was this old Bill Gates saying, where the saying is, the final destination, the path may be longer, the impact may be bigger. I don't know whether this is going to be transformative tomorrow, but my sense is the scale of transformation may be bigger than we anticipate. I think that's really how I'm looking at it. I think as an organization, we're trying to learn, we're trying to prep ourselves to adapt to this world, to use it as a tool. But I think ultimately is how does this transform our world? I think that becomes a key question, and that's a very fun, and who succeeds in answering that question will probably win over the time, yeah.
I think it's lovely chatting with you, sir. You have immense clarity of thought. And thank you for your time coming down all the way from Chennai. And we'll love to have more conversations. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, sir?
No, I think, Siddharth, I think, this is a great initiative in terms of, bringing these groups of people together. And I think it's human service you're doing. And, congratulations. And, I hope you're able to continue this for many years to come. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. This is stuff for you. Yeah.